So growing up, I was pretty sick since I was a young kid. I had epilepsy, I had nephrotic disease, and my doctor put me on a fair bit of steroids, and that actually stunted my growth as well. So growing up, I spent a lot of my younger years in hospital, and because of the medication that I was on, I was borderline obese. It didn't feel really good because I was in primary school and went to secondary school as well, pretty chubby. We were part of this thing called the Tuff Club, Trim and Fit Club, in the early 90s, a government initiative to help fat kids get healthier. And it wasn't very nice because being in the Tuff Club, you had your pictures behind the walls of the canteen stalls. So what happened was the canteen operator would look at those pictures to see whether you are one of those fat kids. And if your picture was there, you couldn't buy the nice food. So yeah, I couldn't buy fried food, I couldn't buy, and I think that also affected my confidence as well. But growing up around my dad, he was always into weight training, bodybuilding, and going into the gym and doing bench presses and sit-ups, and he always prided himself doing like 1,000 sit-ups. So I've always watched my dad, getting healthy, but it really started when I was in secondary school, and being a secondary school kid, watching like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, you kind of inspired, okay, I want to get bigger, and that's when my journey to the gym started, and I started bodybuilding. It was a challenging time in my life, so I decided to channel all that negative energy into something positive, and so I decided to compete as a natural bodybuilder in 2010. I was pretty surprised because I just wanted to just give my best in that competition, and I placed third for my novice category, which was pretty cool. And the reason why I competed in 2013 was to show the world that I could actually get on stage again as a vegan. And I competed in my third and final bodybuilding competition in 2015, which was with Plant Built in the US in Austin, Texas. And I was just so inspired by these guys, and it was just phenomenal to just kind of stand on stage with them. And that was our form of activism, to show the world that you can be competitive as a vegan strength athlete. What made me go vegan was my wife Emily was initially went vegetarian and vegan for health reasons. She had digestive issues, and she was doing a lot of research, and I was just inspired by what she did, and she felt her digestion actually got a lot better since following a plant-based diet. And that kind of sparked my interest. But the penny really dropped for me when a close friend of mine recommended me to watch the film Earthlings. It just, all of a sudden, I was just disgusted at how animals were treated. So after watching that film, when Emily couldn't really watch half the film because it was quite graphic, overnight I said, look, I do not want to contribute to animal cruelty anymore. And that was when I turned vegan. Since turning vegan, I dropped a significant amount of body fat without trying too hard at all, just through following a whole food plant-based diet. And because the inflammation's gone, I'm leaner all year round. I now look at food holistically. I don't look at the specific macronutrients and micronutrients. I would say, in a nutshell, I consume a whole food plant-based diet. Mainly carb-based right now. I've dropped my protein intake significantly, and I've also dropped my fat significantly. So most of my calories are from carb-based sources. So carb-based sources would be starches, fruits, and vegetables. In terms of protein, it's not how much protein you're actually consuming, but how much you're actually assimilating. So I used to consume probably 40% of my calories were from protein sources in my meat eating days, but right now, protein content's dropped to about 15 to 20% max. You know, if for those naysayers that say that you can't put muscle on a plant-based diet, I would say just Google vegan athletes right now and see what actually comes up. We've got strength athletes like Patrick Baboumian, we've got David Carter, who's an NFL linesman. We've got UFC fighters like Nate Diaz. We've got Venus Williams, and we've got endurance athletes like Scott Jurek, Hilary Biscay, who's a triathlete. We've got Frank Mandrano. There's just so many reference points for plant-based vegan athletes out there. So, and I've got myself. I don't want to say that. Right now, I train about 6 days a week. I used to do bodybuilding, but now I do CrossFit and calisthenics, body weight training. I work on my things like my Olympic lifts, like my cleans and my snatches, and some gymnastic movements. 2 to 3 times beyond that, I focus on calisthenics, which is like the human flags. There's specific moves that I'm trying to work on, like the front lever, kind of nail the back lever, and muscle ups, the 360 muscle ups. So there's specific moves that I would say they're more on the gymnastic side of things. I incorporate probably about 8 to 10K run a week. So a bit of strength, a bit of endurance, a bit of agility, and a bit of gymnastics across the board. My book generally is about showing why a plant-based diet is healthier, greener, and more compassionate. It essentially goes into the steps I took to move from a 1 kilo a day meat eating bodybuilder to 100% vegan. And within the book, there are training programs, resources. I also address misconceptions of a plant-based diet. Other than that, other than the plant-based side of things, it's also a self-help manual to help a person live and breathe their passion and create a life of purpose. My ultimate goal and vision is to create a culture of fit, healthy, and conscious individuals wanting to be the change they wish to see in the world.